Hi, my name's Angie Connolly. I actually live in Queensland. I want to warn every working class Australian in Queensland about a mortgage scam that's going on between a broker and a finance, and the government are aware of it, but they're blatantly turning their backs on it. I'll start with Mark Turnbull, 5 times award winner of Horizon Finance in Cairns. He's the one that collects all the people in. It's like lambs to the slaughterhouse. He gets all the forms in and then he passes you through to Resimac, a $14 billion business, and that's where they scam you and flick you within a year or two and get all your money, and there's nothing you can do about it. Mark Turnbull from Horizon, 5 times award winner, backed by government. I went to you to tell you my partner and myself had split and I needed to sell my business up. You, as a financer, as a professional broker, convinced me to remortgage. That was the first mistake I made. Not only did you convince me to remortgage, you convinced me to take an extra $30,000 out. That was the second mistake I made. I found out later on down the line, after struggling for 5 years, 3 jobs, members of the family throwing the money in, and other people to keep my business up afloat, because you promised me after 1 year that you'd get me another mortgage. That never happened, did it? Greg Van Lee, Senior Risk Manager of Resimac, rang me to inform me he had looked through all my documents, Mark Turnbull of Finance, and said these should never have been submitted, never mind about being approved. Jackie Doig? You were the ones that signed it and proved it. You work for Resimac. That's Mark Turnbull's friend. I did say to Mark, I don't need any friends. I don't need to lose my $500,000, because that's more or less what I put down. Greg Van Leer, you disappeared then, didn't you, after telling me that I was basically should never have been given this mortgage. Couldn't believe that I shouldn't have lasted a year. You disappeared off the face of the earth, and then Timothy Butlin, he took over. He works for Resimac. He's the senior risk manager for finance. I explained everything that Greg Van Leer had said to you, Timothy Butlin, and Matthew Lane, and Brendan, and everyone else that worked for Resimac. You all said you didn't care, get a solicitor, whatever. I'd sign the forms. Well, the reason why I signed these forms was because I hired Mark Turnbull, the broker, thinking he was honest, and thinking a $14 billion business was honest as well. How wrong can you be? Lost my business, worth $1.2 million as a boarding house for the locals. If I'd gone to backpackers throwing 40 beds in, which I decided not to, it would have been worth over $2 million. You sold it for $250,000. $1.2 million for $250,000. How illegal can you get with that? Gets to Ombudsman. They answered all my phone calls after a year, and I get to Afi McAndalin and Gemma O'Meara. Gemma O'Meara is a solicitor, so I take it Afi McAndalin is a solicitor too. After holding my documents for 4 months, you decided to tell me that I was actually 6 months too late. Everyone in Australia, if you sign for a mortgage knowing that you're struggling with your insurance, you know what you're doing. Apparently, when I handed over nearly $500,000, I knew I was being scammed. That's what Gemma O'Meara and Afi McAndalin said. Okay, this is fact. What Gemma O'Meara and Afi McAndalin forgot to tell me was the person I had complained about all the way through, not only were they personal friends on LinkedIn, Mark Turnbull, Afi McAndalin, Gemma O'Meara and Greg Van Leer, that Greg Van Leer happens to be their senior complaints manager of Ombudsman. That is where I say it's a scam. That is where I say this is government backed up. That's where I say they're getting backhanders. It's the working class people of Australia that actually build this country, and they've built it from the word go. Then you get people like Greg Van Leer that come along, and Afi McAndalin and Gemma O'Meara that pop along when it's all been set up from them, and then they start creaming and scamming. Because see, what it boils down to, the majority of the working class people of this country are very honest, decent, hard workers. They don't mind getting dirt between their nails. But unfortunately, then we turn to the people that are educated to get our mortgages. And this is where the downfall is. The government department of this country, you are now in power. Julia was in power when I put in my first complaint. Now I'm going to put it to you. I've been scammed. I've been ripped off like thousands of other working class people in this country. I suggest you do something about it, because I'm really not going away, because there is nowhere for me to go. I'm one step from the gutter, really. Thank you very much. $14 billion business, Resimac, Mark Turnbull of Horizon, stay well away from them. Thank you.